Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. The blood on the sidewalk wasn't hers. The air was thick with silence as the crowd circled around. A single sneaker lay in the middle of the sidewalk, streaked with blood. It wasn't hers, but her hand was trembling. Her heart thundered like it was trying to punch through her ribs. Naya's lip was split. Her eye, already swelling, throbbed with every beat of her pulse. Her afro was half loosened, curls hanging uneven from the fall, but she didn't move to fix it. She didn't flinch. Her fists were still clenched, not from fear, but fury. Across from her, the man who'd attacked her stood dazed, bent slightly forward, cradling his jaw. "You people think you can just walk around like you belong," he spat, eyes wild, nose bleeding from where she'd landed the punch. "You people," two words that had ripped the air just minutes earlier, sparking something deep and ancient inside her. It had started fast. She'd been walking back from the bookstore, just coffee in hand and earbuds in. She hadn't even noticed him until his shoulder slammed into hers. Hard, deliberate, her coffee flew. Her balance wobbled. She turned, startled, expecting maybe an apology instead. He sneered, "You got a problem, girl." It was the venom in the word girl that froze her. She knew that tone, heard it 1,000 times in stares, in awkward laughs, in the way security guards watched her walk through stores. She tried to keep walking. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Keep walking, be the bigger person, survive. But he followed. He shoved her from behind, hard. She hit the sidewalk, scraping her palms. People on the patio nearby froze mid-bite. And then he started yelling about her skin, her clothes, her kind. Slurs flew out like spit. And then, just like that, his hand rose. She saw it coming like a slow-motion movie. The swing of his arm, the glint in his eyes, not just hate, but confidence. He'd done this before, but he didn't know NIA. By the time his arm came down, she was already up. Something ancient and sacred roared through her veins. Her mother's voice, her grandmother's hands, her ancestors' scars. They all moved in her body at once. She punched a single, hard punch, right to his jaw. He stumbled back, eyes wide, mouth open like he couldn't believe a black woman had the audacity to fight back. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A phone dropped. Then another came out. Recording. He looked stunned, not because of the pain, but because she didn't cower. She didn't beg. She stood, and for the first time he looked afraid. She didn't say a word. Her silence roared louder than anything he'd screamed. Then came the woman, sharp eyes, navy blazer, emerging from the crowd. She walked straight to Naya, like she'd seen enough. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" she asked, gently, like she was afraid to startle her. Nia blinked. Twice her lip quivered, just a little, but she didn't cry. "Not here, not yet. I'm fine," she whispered. The woman held up her phone. "Don't move. I got everything on video. He hit you first. I saw it." The man stiffened, looked around, realized the crowd was not on his side anymore. "Your name?" the woman asked Naya. She said Dot. The woman's lips lifted slightly. "Naya, I'm a lawyer, and you're not alone." Sirens wailed in the distance. The man backed away, muttering something about cancel culture and overreacting. But nobody was listening. That night, the video hit over 3 million views. Comments flooded in support, outrage, threats. Everyone had an opinion about what she should have done, how she should have responded, who she should have been in that moment. But what crushed her most wasn't from a stranger. It came at 2:43 a.m. as she sat on her couch, an ice pack pressed to her face, scrolling through the chaos of her notifications. A text from her boss. "You shouldn't have fought back. You're making it worse." Her breath caught. The man who called her family at work parties. The same man who praised her for being graceful under pressure. The same one who ignored every raise request and only let her run meetings. When the clients were black, she stared at the screen. A knock rattled her apartment door. 3 slow, heavy taps. She froze. It was past midnight. She wasn't expecting anyone. The hallway light outside her peephole was out. Had been for weeks. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. From a number she didn't recognize. "You think you're a hero now." Then another. "You should have stayed down." Naya rose slowly. Her heart beat like drums in her ears. She grabbed the nearest thing with weight, a Castilian pan from her tiny kitchen, and stepped closer to the door. 3 more knocks. This time, louder. She didn't breathe. The city was loud, but in this moment, everything felt silent. The kind of silence right before everything changes. The man at the door knew her name. 3 more knocks. Louder this time, slower, like whoever was on the other side wasn't in a rush, like they enjoyed the wait. Nia gripped the Castilian pan tighter. Her other hand hovered over her phone, her thumb on the emergency dial screen. She stared at the door like it might breathe. Who knocks at 12:07 a.m.? No neighbor would do that. And if it was the cops, they'd announce themselves, right? Another knock. She moved like a whisper, standing to the side of the door so she couldn't be seen from the peephole. But that hallway light was still dead. Useless. Then, finally, a voice. Miss Nia Carter. She froze. That voice. Calm, like it belonged to someone in a suit. Polished, practiced. I'm not here to hurt you. Just need a moment. 5 minutes. She stayed silent. The pan in her hand felt heavier now. I'm from Opia, he added. She blinked. Office of Police Accountability, he clarified, as if reading her mind. Opa, why would they be here? I know it's late, he said, but I wanted to come before the news cycle chews this story up and spits it out wrong. You're already trending in every state. By morning, you'll be everywhere. I figured you deserved to know what's coming before it does. A chill slipped down her spine. What was coming? Still holding the pan like a shield, she slid the chain across the door and opened it just an inch. The man standing outside wore a gray overcoat. No badge, no gun, no clipboard, just tired eyes, hands in his pockets, and a quiet tension that made her gut twist. He didn't look dangerous. But danger doesn't always look like danger. She knew that better than anyone. I'm Agent Terrell. He raised his hands slightly. Not here to interrogate. I'm here to warn you. Warn me, she asked through the crack. You shook something loose, Nia, he said. That man you hit, his name is not just some random nobody. He's connected. His father's a retired federal judge, his cousin's in the mayor's office, and his record has conveniently disappeared more than once. Nia swallowed hard. You're telling me I punched a rich racist with a protected past? I'm telling you, he said slowly. He's not the only one who wants this to go away quietly. You embarrassed him publicly, virally, and the system doesn't. Like when women like you fight back, especially not on camera. Nia's grip tightened on the door. Your boss, Terrell added, is on record trying to settle things behind your back. We tapped into a few calls. He's already claiming you provoked the attack. What? She whispered. He's worried about bad press, Terrell said. About donors pulling out. You work at a non-profit, right? Justice Initiative. Nia's lips parted. How do you know all this? I told you, I'm OPA. My job is to look at dirty cases and ask why they keep getting buried. She opened the door just enough to see his face more clearly. His eyes were bloodshot. He hadn't shaved in days. But there was something in his voice that didn't sound like spin. It sounded like weariness, like he'd seen this play out too. Many times. I need you to understand, he said. You're not safe right now, not because you did anything wrong, but because you're inconvenient. You didn't just fight back, you made a scene. And scenes don't sit well with men who write the rules. Nia leaned against the wall, the weight of it all folding over her. I didn't ask for any of this, she whispered. I know, but you're in it now. A long silence stretched between them. Then Terrell reached into his coat pocket, slowly, and handed her a flash drive. What's this proof, he said, of who that man really is? Assault reports, internal memos, expunged charges, sealed court orders, all wiped clean by his father's influence. Her hand trembled slightly as she took it. And why give this to me? Because you have something they don't. The public's eyes, Terrell said, and I think you'll know what to do with it. He turned to leave. Wait, she said. He paused, one foot on the top stair. Why are you helping me? Terrell looked back at her, eyes dark but sincere. Because I had a sister. She was silenced before she could speak. I see her in you. Then he disappeared into the shadows of the stairwell, leaving only the faint echo of his footsteps behind. Nia locked the door, bolted it, double-checked the windows. Then, she stared at the flash drive in her palm like it might burn her. This wasn't just about a punch anymore. It was about power, about secrets, and someone had just handed her the matches. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. This time it was a video. She opened it with shaky fingers. It was footage of her from that morning walking out of her apartment. The camera angle was low. From across the street. The caption read, "We see you, Nia." The tape wasn't supposed to exist. Nia didn't sleep. The flash drive sat on her kitchen table like it was alive, buzzing with invisible electricity. The message on her phone, "We see you," Nia still hovered in her mind, like a ghost whispering in her ear. She had double-checked the windows, closed the blinds, turned off every light, but she still felt watched. Her laptop blinked at her, waiting. She plugged in the flash drive with trembling fingers, heart thudding against her chest like a warning. Folders, dozens of them, MK's, internal reports _ sealed video footage _ 2017 to 2022. She clicked the last one first, and there it was, a horrifying collage of dates, victims, and police bodycam videos. Faces bruised, voices pleading, names she didn't recognize. But in folder footage _Miller _ 2021, her breath caught. There, clear as day, was the man who had hit her, Richard Miller, screaming at a young Latina woman in a grocery store parking lot. Slurs, shoves. She tried to walk away. He followed, then he slapped her. A few seconds later, the footage cut, deleted or edited, Nia thought. But someone had saved it before it disappeared. She opened another clip. This one was different. No timestamp, no labels, just static at first. Then a shaky video of what looked like a dimly lit courtroom. A voice echoed in the background, stern, controlled. "Male, you want this gone? It's gone. But next time, keep your son under control. I won't clean up after him again." The camera panned. Briefly, it caught a profile. Judge Howard Miller, Richard's father, and across from him, unmistakably, her boss, Martin Shaw. Nia paused the video. Her chest felt tight, like someone was slowly winding a belt around her lungs. Martin, her boss, the one who told her to let it go. The one who called her family in front of donors, but refused to speak up when she was passed over for promotions. He knew. He didn't just try to keep things quiet. He was part of the machine that buried men like Richardville. The same machine that called itself progressive while hiding rot underneath. She sat back in her chair, shaking. She needed help, but from who? The police. They were likely part of the same chain. The media. They'd twist the story for views. And that's when her phone rang. Unknown number, no ID. She nearly ignored it until something in her gut said answer it. "Hello," she said, softly. "Nia, it's me," came the voice, familiar, firm. "Terrell, how did you get my number?" "I told you. I work with people who can find what needs to be found. And right now, you need to listen very carefully." She straightened. "No, you have the drive. You were followed earlier. The guy taking that video. We spotted him leaving your street an hour ago. Unmarked vehicle, fake plates. He's not local. Who is he? Private contractor, hired muscle. They don't want you arrested. They want you scared, discredited, or gone." Nia swallowed hard. "Why tell me this now?" she whispered. "Because what you're holding isn't just evidence of Richard's history. It's evidence of a network. Corruption, influence peddling. People with money and clean hands who use men like Richard to do dirty work. What do I do with it?" Terrell paused. "You leak it," he said. "But not to the media. Not yet." "Then who?" "There's someone I trust. A woman. Used to be an investigative journalist. Lost her job after exposing a DA who took bribes. She runs an underground truth site now. People read it. The right people." He texted an address. "She'll be there at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Tell her I sent you." Nia stared at the address. It was an old library downtown, boarded up on the outside. She remembered it from childhood, a relic of the city's neglected neighborhoods. "Be careful," Terrell added, and Nia Biatcha. Brave. But bravery without a plan gets people killed. The line went dead. The next day, Nia wore a hoodie, jeans, and no makeup. She tied her curls back and walked like someone with nowhere to go. Just another tired face in the city. She took the long route to the library, circled the block twice, watched for shadows, mirrors, unfamiliar cars. At exactly 1:59 p.m. she knocked on the side entrance, a metal door covered in graffiti. It opened an inch. "You Nia?" a voice asked. "Yes." "Terrell sent you?" "Yes." The door opened, wider. A woman in her 40s, with short cropped hair and tired eyes, gestured her inside. They walked in silence through the dark library, past dusty shelves, old checkout counters, down into a back room lit by nothing but 2 desk lamps and a tangle of computer wires. "You brought it?" the woman asked. Nia handed over the flash drive. The woman plugged it in. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. Her eyes narrowed as folders opened. "Holy hell," she whispered. Then she looked up. "You realize this? This doesn't just take down a man, it could shake the system." "I know," Nia said. "And you're ready for the consequences?" Nia nodded, even as her knees trembled. No more hiding. The price of telling the truth. The article dropped at 4:17 a.m. No headlines, no flashy banners, just a single blog post on a dusty site, known only to those who watched the world with one eye open. The protected predator. What the system hid about Richard Miller. Screenshots, footage, sealed records, names, signatures, memos, even the courthouse video that caught Judge Howard Miller and Martin Shaw speaking in code. Nia stared at it on her cracked laptop screen, heart in her throat. Within minutes, the post was picked up. Reddit, Tumblr, Substacks. A thread exploded on Threads. #UnmaskedMiller. Then came #JusticeForJasmine, the name of the Latina woman from one of the videos. People weren't just sharing. They were screaming. By sunrise, it was everywhere. And then the calls began. First an unknown number, then her boss, then a voicemail from someone claiming to be legal counsel for the Justice Initiative, then the news outlets, then to random numbers from New York, and then her mother. "You okay, baby?" the voice said shakily. "Yeah," Nia whispered. "I think so. You're brave. Your father would be proud," her mother said. "But listen, keep your head down. These people don't lose quietly." She knew it too well, and yet she couldn't help but think, maybe it's over. Maybe we actually won. She opened her window for the first time in 2 days. Let the morning light in, took a long breath of warm air, and that's when the brick shattered her living room window. Glass flew. She dropped to the floor instantly. The brick landed a foot from her head. A paper was taped around it. Her hands shook as she unwrapped it. "You should have stayed quiet." Her phone buzzed. Terrell. "Are you safe?" he asked without saying hello. "They threw a brick through my damn window." "Terrell, I told you this was war. You made the first strike. Now they hit back." "Then, what's next?" she snapped. "What? I wait for someone to show up with a gun?" "No, you move. Now." "I'm not running. This isn't running. This is survival. You hit the system in the gut. You don't stay still after a punch like that. Pack a bag. I'll send a location." Click. No argument. Just a command. She didn't hesitate this time. The safe house was a 2-bedroom Airbnb on the edge of town. Old furniture, no cameras, no digital trail. Paid for in cash by someone on Terrell's side of things. A woman named Des let her in. No last name, just Des. Tall, with looks and a face that looked like it had seen too much too soon. "You've stirred the hornet's nest," Des said as she locked the door behind them. "And the Hornets wear suits and own property in 5 countries. I didn't think it would go this far," Nia admitted, sitting on the edge of the bed. Truth always goes further than you think. Later that evening, Des handed her a burner phone. Terrell would call on that number only. Everything else was off-limits. No internet, no posts, no contact with friends. "You're radioactive now," Des said. "And not just because of the article." "What else?" Nia asked. Dez hesitated. "Martin's press team issued a statement." "What did he say?" "That the footage was manipulated. That the voice in the courthouse video isn't verifiably his. And that you're part of an extremist group looking to bring down credible organizations through fabricated stories." Nia laughed. A bitter, short sound. "Of course. Deny, distract, destroy. Guess I shouldn't be surprised," she muttered. "It gets worse," Des added. "Your apartment lease was cancelled. Without notice. No refund. What? And, your bank accounts, frozen. Pending an internal investigation." She felt like the ground cracked beneath her. How can they do this? I haven't even been charged with anything. They don't need charges. They just need reach and fear. Nia leaned back against the wall. The walls closed in slowly. This wasn't just a smear campaign. It was erasure. That night, the burner phone rang once. "Terrell, you okay?" he asked. "No, but I'm alive." "That's good enough. For now." There was a pause. He sounded tired. "No, something else. Worried. I think there's someone on the inside leaking to them," he finally said. "What do you mean?" "They knew you had the flash drive, knew where you lived. Too much too fast. Someone in our line fed them." Nia's mouth went dry. "Then I'm not safe anywhere." "You're safe with Des." But you need to decide, are you in this until the end? Because they're betting on your silence. She thought of all the faces in those videos, all the people buried under red tape and hush money. She thought of the girl with the bruised cheek, of Terrell's sister, of herself, and then she thought of that brick, of how close it had come to cracking her skull. I'm in, she said. They wanted silence. They're getting something else. One of us is lying. The rain wouldn't stop, that drummed against the windows of the safe house like nervous fingers tapping at her sanity. Naya sat curled on the couch, burner phone in her lap, silence thick in the room. Des was in the kitchen, pacing and muttering to someone on a secure line, her face carved with worry. Naya hadn't eaten since the day before, her stomach twisted, not from hunger, from fear. Fear that the walls weren't just closing in anymore. Fear that the people she trusted were starting to slip through her fingers. Someone inside the circle was a traitor. She could feel it like a pulse under her skin. I need air, Naya said suddenly. Des looked up from the kitchen. Can't go far, just the back porch. 5 minutes. Des hesitated, then nodded. Nia stepped into the cold drizzle, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. The safe house backed up to an alley. Empty garbage bins, dim street lamp. It should have felt safe. It didn't. Single quotes. She turned when she heard the door creak open behind her. Terrell stood there, hoodie soaked, eyes wide. You shouldn't be here, she said, startled. I know, he said, but I found something. He held up a small audio recorder. This was planted in the safe house, in the vent above your bedroom. Nia's heart dropped. They were listening. Not just listening, Terrell said, stepping closer. Recording, transmitting. I traced the signal. It's internal. Someone on our team gave them access. Nia's skin went cold. Who? Terrell didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out his phone and showed her a picture. It was Des, sitting in a car, with Martin Shaw. Nia stared, eyes wide. No, Des, she saved me. She got me out. She also handed over your flash drive's serial code, Terrell said grimly. I checked the logs. After you gave her the drive, she connected it to a secondary device before uploading. Someone wired her. No, Nia whispered again. It doesn't make sense. She was probably forced into it, Terrell said. Maybe blackmailed. But that doesn't change what she did. Behind them, the door creaked again. Des stood there, silent. Her face was unreadable. You went through my things, she asked quietly. You bugged her bed, Terrell snapped. Don't play innocent. I bugged it after the drive was already uploaded, Des replied, and I didn't give them the original copy, just a corrupted dupe. I needed them to think I was cooperating. Nia's breath caught. What? I met with Martin because he threatened my daughter, Des said, voice trembling now. She's 12, special needs. He said if I didn't cooperate, she'd disappear. You think I wanted to do this? Nia stepped forward, tears stinging her eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Because you're not the only one who's afraid, Des said. You're not the only one they hurt. Terrell looked unconvinced. Then why not tell me? Des glared at him. Because your people aren't clean either. Someone in your line gave them Nia's apartment address before the story even broke. Silence. A long, brutal silence. Nia's knees felt weak. You're both telling me you don't trust each other. And both of you had reasons to lie, she said. So who the hell am I supposed to believe? Des sighed. Check the files. I encrypted a second trail in the metadata. I've been sending names to a separate source, one I trust. Who? Terrell asked. Dez hesitated. A federal whistleblower, retired. I'd been working with him quietly for months. And where is he now? Dead, she said. 2 weeks ago, car crash, no investigation. Something deep inside, Nia cracked. The paranoia wasn't just in her mind, it was justified. Everyone she touched, Terrell, Des, even strangers, was at risk, and they weren't playing anymore. They were erasing people. Nia took a deep breath. We finish this. No more disguises, no more hiding. I want this on every screen, every paper, every feed. They'll come harder, Terrell warned. Then let them. That night, Nia went live. Not through mainstream media, not through any anonymous blog. She opened her phone camera, looked directly into the lens, and spoke. My name is Nia Brooks, she began. I was attacked because of my skin color. I was told to stay quiet. I was warned by people in power to let it go, but I didn't. And what I found changes everything. She uploaded the video to every major platform: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X. Within hours, it hit over 2 million views. People began sharing, then digging, then asking questions the system couldn't answer. Martin Shaw resigned due to health concerns. Judge Howard Miller went on leave, and Richard Miller, still silent, still hiding. Until the next day, when a live feed caught him trying to board a private jet out of state. He was arrested on camera, and then silence again, as if the storm had passed. But the silence didn't last. Naya's burner phone buzzed. One last time, a single message. You think it's over? It's not. Her fingers went numb, and then came the worst blow of all. She called her mother that night. No answer. She called again. Still nothing. Finally, someone picked up a man's voice. This is Officer Linwood. Is this Nia Brooks? Yes, there's been an incident at your mother's house. It was set on fire tonight. We're still investigating. I'm sorry. Fire can burn or cleanse. The house had collapsed by the time Nia got there. Smoke still lingered in the air like ghosts refusing to let go. Yellow tape fluttered around the edges of the property. Blackened wood crackled beneath dying embers. Her mother's garden, those vibrant red lilies, were scorched to ash. Neighbor stood nearby, trembling, wrapped in a blanket. She turned to Nia with tear-filled eyes. I heard the glass shatter. Then the boom. I thought it was a gas leak, but it wasn't. It was a warning. Nia's heart beat like a drum in a funeral march. Her mother survived barely. She was in the ICU with burns on her hands and arms, and smoke in her lungs. Doctors said she would recover, but slowly, quietly, painfully. This is it, Nia whispered. Dez stood beside her, solemn. It always ends in fire, doesn't it? No, Nia said. It starts in fire. For 2 days, she disappeared from the public eye. No posts, no updates. The world that had once been buzzing with #Justice for Jasmine, #UnmaskedMiller, and #WeBelieve NIA began to quiet. That's what power did. It waited for outrage to simmer down. It waited for attention to shift. Then it buried the truth. Again, but Nia wasn't done. Because fire could burn, but it could also purify. Day 3, a live stream began, unannounced, raw and unfiltered. Nia sat in a black hoodie. No makeup, no stage. Just a plain room and her mother's charred wedding ring sitting on the table beside her. You tried to take everything from me, she said into the camera. You tried to shut me up with silence, with lies, with fire, but you forgot something. She held up a flash drive. I kept a backup. The screen glitched, then cut to footage the world hadn't seen before. Courtroom. Footage of Judge Howard Miller privately ordering files sealed without protocol. Audio clips of Martin Shaw admitting to scrubbing backgrounds of those accused in racial hate crimes. And then came the final blow. A video call between Richard Miller and a donor, caught off guard speaking too freely. She's just another angry black girl, he sneered. Give it a week. The world will find a new distraction. Burn the file. Nia cut back to herself. Well, Richard, you tried to burn me, but the fire didn't take. The video exploded. This wasn't just a scandal now, it was systemic rot. CNN, BBC and Al Jazeera. Every major outlet picked it up. Nia was invited to speak, and this time, she said yes, but only under one condition. She wouldn't sit down unless they also let Des, Terrell, and 2 victims featured in the leaked footage join the table. They agreed. It wasn't about her anymore. It was about all of them. Public pressure mounted, like thunder. Protesters returned to the courthouse, only this time they weren't shouting into silence. Lawmakers called for emergency sessions. Petitions for Judge Howard Miller's removal crossed 1 million signatures in 2 days, and then the dominoes began to fall. First, the judge was suspended, then Martin Shaw was subpoenaed, and finally, a grand jury convened for Richard Miller. But, even with the system crumbling, one truth gnawed at Nia's gut: the fire that burned her mother's house. It was ruled an unidentified arson. No suspects, no arrests, just shadows and whispers. She confronted the lead investigator. Don't insult me, she said. You know who did this. He looked away. We don't have proof. Then I'll find it. She spent 2 weeks combing through local surveillance footage, got a partial license plate from a street cam, matched it with a black SUV registered to a shell company owned by one of Martin Shaw's former assistants. When she confronted Martin on live TV, she didn't ask. She dared. You said the footage was fake. Is this fake too? She asked, holding up the photo of the SUV. Martin froze, didn't blink, didn't breathe, then walked off the set. 2 weeks later, Martin Shaw was arrested for obstruction of justice and conspiracy. The man who once held entire careers in his hand left the courtroom in cuffs. It wasn't just a win, it was vindication. And yet, even in victory, the weight stayed with her. She visited her mother every day in the rehab center. Her mother smiled weakly, fingers wrapped in gauze, eyes full of quiet pride. "You burned bright, baby," she said. "Don't let them dim you now." "I won't," Naya promised. But the real healing came not from vengeance, it came from what followed. A foundation was formed, the Ember Project, aimed at helping victims of racially motivated hate crimes find legal aid, counseling, and a voice. Naya didn't just start it, she became it. She stood on stages, sat in courtrooms, fought with calm fury, not because she was brave, but because she was tired of running. Months later, on a quiet evening, she returned to the spot where it all began, the train station. She stood on that same platform, the same place Richard Miller had shoved her, where the bystanders turned away. Only this time, people stared for another reason. A young woman whispered to her boyfriend, "That's her." An older black man nodded in quiet respect. A little girl smiled up at Naya, clutching her mother's hand. "You're the one who made the bad people go away." Naya crouched, smiled back. "No," she said gently, "I just made them visible." Final line. Sometimes, the only way to burn down a system is to let it light itself on fire. And sometimes, the ones who survive the flames, they rise. Not as victims, but as fireproof. The end.